It's time for
DodgerHeads.
high fly ball into right field. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Shohei Ohtani, 50-50 club. Strikes him out. There's a drive. Shohei Ohtani. Freeman hits the ball. She is gone. Birthday party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined tonight by Anthony Witrado. If you are watching us live on YouTube, I hope you have noticed. You are also being joined live by the 9th World Series trophy that sits right above Anthony and my head. We have officially updated our graphics to reflect the 2025 World Series championship. So shout out to the people joining us live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. We greatly appreciate all of you. Anthony, happy Sunday evening to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a little more than a week now since the amazing Game 7 victory. Doing well, man.
I love it. I love it. Bank account wise, give me like the last 7 days. Have we showed self-restraint? Have we dipped back in a little bit? I said on social media, the LA Times took more of my money because I got a copy of the day after the World Series championship paper, which I'll admit I was underwhelmed by. The picture they chose for the full page was not a good one. It was like a random one of Shohei holding the trophy in a crowd. Not awesome for framing. And then a week later, they put out a special edition World Series that is way better. It's got full page Yoshinobu Yamamoto picture. It's got a full page, I believe, Ohtani picture. So the LA Times hit me with, I believe it was a $15 paper with a $10 shipping fee on top of it. Apparently it costs $10 to ship a newspaper. So that's the damage that's been done on my bank account in the last few days.
Yeah, I did. I finally got the print versions of those. So the big front pages that you can get framed and everything. So those were $60 a pop.
Yeah.
And then anything new since the last time we talked? I don't think so. I'm waiting. I'm waiting on the stuff I have ordered to come in, and I'll reassess. The championship hats with the championship patch on them. Apparently those are still in some purgatory for a lot of people, I think, because probably millions got ordered all around the same 24-hour period. So hopefully no issues aside from just stocking issues. But other than that, so far, nothing new. But that can always change.
It can always change. My buddy got the hat they wore right afterwards. He ordered it like 12 hours before me. His has arrived. Mine has at least said it's shipped. So half of my things have shipped.
There you
We've
go.
got that going for us. So lots to get into tonight. We're going to talk about Mookie's podcast in a second. I've got some 2025 trivia questions for you. We're going to do a fun segment about things that we want to remind ourselves of now so that when 2026 starts or is halfway through, we go back and we say, hey, remember on that show last year when we said this thing at the end of 2025, we're going to do that. And we'll talk awards, Cy Young Award, MVP, Rookie of the Year, all due to be announced this week. So lots to get into. We got a couple super chats. So let's just start there. Jedi Engineer, who is the most likely pickup in the bullpen? Edwin Diaz, Raciel Iglesias, or Robert Suarez? Got to lock down the leverage outs in 2026. Is there one of these names, Anthony, that jumps out to you the most? Obviously, Suarez from the Padres, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball last year. Diaz, kind of the big name, big moment guy. Iglesias, a little bit less known, but has been really effective for a number of years now.
Yeah, I think Edwin Diaz is probably priced out for the Dodgers based on what they tend to spend on relievers and the fact that they kind of got burned by one last year. I don't know that any of these guys are super in play for them. I would think that potentially Pete Fairbanks is more of the name that I would be leaning toward. He's a former Rays guy, which Andrew Friedman tends to like for obvious reasons. He was a guy they were interested in at the trade deadline, but it didn't pan out. So I could see them maybe doing some work there with Fairbanks. But these other guys, I think Diaz probably priced out, maybe even Suarez, and I think probably Fairbanks over Iglesias.
Yeah, it looks. I like MLB trade rumors for some projections and stuff, just as ballpark numbers. Iglesias is 2 years, $26 million. I believe Suarez is 3 for 48, maybe, and then Diaz is like 4 for 82. So, yeah, I'm with you. It just seems unlikely to me they're going to do a Tanner Scott deal again,
Yeah.
especially after that one backfired. But we'll see. My theme for the entire offseason, I think, is going to be I think trades are more likely than some free agency moves, is what I would say. I could see that. And Fairbanks. I like Fairbanks. When that happened, I said this feels very Dodgers-y when he did not get a qualifying offer. So something to keep an eye on there. CCC Rub says 9. Thanks for the content. 9 World Series trophies at the top. Hector says Dodgers have been in 5 World Series since 2017. It's great to be spoiled. Looking forward for the next few years. There's more to come. More where that came from based on what we've seen so far. Phil with the super chat. Been incredible rewatching everything with the Dodgers winning the World Series. Few recordings, Fox mini movie, The Story I Didn't Want to Tell by a Blue Jays fan, DodgerHeads podcast from 2 years ago when we signed Ohtani Yamamoto. I haven't seen The Story I Didn't Want to Tell by a Blue Jays fan. Have you seen this, Anthony? A friend sent it to me this tonight, but I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I watched it Friday maybe, and it was good. I thought it was.
It's a Blue Jay, like sort of his story of watching the last 2 games, basically.
Yes, yeah, watching 6 and 7, and I thought like a very level-headed take on it, right? Like we've seen some Blue Jays fans, and the loudest people are usually the minority with this stuff, but we've seen some not great takes from the Blue Jays faithful about the World Series. But this one was, I thought, pretty well done, and like from the perspective of like, a true fan, and it felt like this guy had probably been a Blue Jays fan for a really long time. And so like, I thought that it was, if you're going to watch some Blue Jays fan content like that, that's probably the one to watch.
Okay, there you go. And shout out to Phil watching podcasts from 2 years ago when we signed Ohtani and Yamamoto. I was telling a friend the other day, I went back and looked at what our most viewed live videos we've ever done are. After the 2025 World Series is number 1. Within 24 hours, it was the most watched thing we've ever done. Number 2 on that list was the 2024 World Series immediately following the game show. And then like Yamamoto, I think, was 3rd, and Ohtani signing was like 4. Those are all in the top 5. So unsurprising there, I suppose. And by the way, shout out to everybody on YouTube. We finally got to 100,000 subscribers, which is a big deal. So thank you to everybody that's watching that is subscribed, because when we started this thing, 100,000 would have seemed like an insurmountable number to me, at least. So shout out to everybody hopping in.
Speaking to that a little bit, I sent you a screenshot. I sent it to Matt also, but I don't know how this came across my feed, but I was watching something on YouTube, and the suggested videos underneath whatever it is that you're watching, I was kind of going through those, and a couple of weeks ago up popped episode number 1 of DodgerHeads with a very young looking, like a teenager looking Jeff Spiegel, and a juvenile delinquent looking Matthew Moreno in the other panel. And you guys did your first show, first DodgerHead show. And so I don't know how that, like I said, I don't know how that popped up on my feed, but I watched it start to finish and I laughed just about the whole way through.
I love it. I can't imagine. I will never watch that. I can't imagine how bad it was. It was just shooting from the hip and seeing what happened. So shout out to Dodger Blue for giving me a chance and saying, hey, do you want to host this thing? And for Matt and Daniel being along for the ride at the beginning of that thing. Carlos said, what's the probability we get Kyle Tucker? I am going to say 15%. You have an answer here, Anthony?
10. I'll go 10. Yeah, I think the only way I think this is possible is if he's like open to like a 2+1 kind of deal with the high AAV. Then I think the Dodgers are in play. But other than that, I can't see this happening.
Yeah. Jeff Passan was on Rich Eisen the other day, and he kind of was like, I don't think this is a deal. So keep an eye on it. Chops Pones says, did we master baseball load management in 2025? The answer is yes, and stay tuned for one of my tattoos later because it involves exactly this premise here. Peyton says, I've heard the pros and cons of Tucker and Bellinger, but are there any other names to look out for in the outfield? The name I've mentioned, I know Scott Gearman is on board with too, is Jarren Duran. There's no inside information. I just keep saying on paper, he seems like the type of player that makes a ton of sense for the Dodgers. He's also under team control. He's not going to cost a ton of money, and the Red Sox seem like they have too many outfielders, maybe aren't the biggest fans of Jarren Duran, and they need pitching, of which the Dodgers have lots of. So I'm just connecting those dots. Stephen Kwan is the other name that's been mentioned a number of times. I've made clear on social media that I'm not the biggest Stephen Kwan fan in the world, but those are the four names that I feel like I've at least heard. Again, Tucker and Bellinger free agents. The other two would have to be traded for. Anybody else I'm missing, Anthony?
Bader is one that I would keep an eye on.
Good one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of that's one of those guys. And then I see Ray Soto making the joke here, but I think probably we still have to keep an eye on Luis Robert Jr.
Okay. Yeah. Cedric Mullins, another name that somebody's brought up to me, where it's like if you want to just go cheap defensive guy that might be able to get you to league average hitting, there you go. So yeah, but yeah, Luis Robert, no thank you. That would be my answer to that one.
Same.
Phil says, FYI, I watched those when we signed Shohei and Yamamoto. Just so good to rewatch now. Back-to-back champs. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy to think about what's changed since then. Carlos said, what free agent pickups would you consider to have an aggressive offseason? If the Dodgers were going to get aggressive, Kyle Tucker's the obvious name.
Yeah.
Murakami is a guy we'll talk about on this channel, whether or not he makes a ton of sense. I think you'd need, could Max Muncy go play second base and could Tommy Edman go play center field is sort of the only logistical way to make something like a Murakami move work. But what other free agents, Anthony, if any, kind of would qualify in your mind as an aggressive offseason for the Dodgers?
Yeah, I think what immediately pops to mind would be probably somebody like Edwin Diaz.
Okay.
Even though I know what I said a few minutes ago, but I think that's because I don't think they're going to be that aggressive on something like that. But if we're looking for aggressive moves, I would say he's one. Bo Bichette, I guess, is another. Again,
the hard part with him is where does he play? Because it
Right.
feels like he's done with shortstop days, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally. I think the shortstop the Dodgers currently have is a far better defender than current Bo Bichette.
Yeah.
But again, if we're just playing, hey, we're being ultra aggressive, those names come to mind.
What about Devin Williams, another relief pitcher that hasn't been mentioned?
Yeah, I don't think that. I think the relievers that we've already mentioned are probably more likely. But if they're going to go at it hard, maybe they make some trades from their starting pitching depth, and that's one way. And then they go after I don't know, somebody like Framber Valdez or Michael King, somebody like that. I don't see any of these things happening. But if we're just kind of fantasizing about what a super aggressive winner looks like, I think those are the names.
Yeah.
I saw somebody mention Byron Buxton. He's been number one on my offseason list in terms of a trade target for 5 years, just from a pure fan standpoint. But he has made very, very clear he wants nothing to do with any organization except the Twins. He wants to retire there, and the Twins do not plan on moving him.
Yeah, I think the relief pitcher market would be where they get aggressive if they're going to get aggressive. Gak says, could you see the Dodgers trading for either of the Cruz brothers?
I'm
going to be on. I'm not exactly sure who they're referring
Cruz
to.
Brothers
here.
Are we talking about here?
Yeah. So
O'Neal Cruz, maybe.
Oh, and Ellie De La Cruz. There you go.
There, yeah. No, I can't see either of those organizations trading either of those guys this offseason.
Yeah. And O'Neal Cruz hasn't really been that good either, is the other thing. So it's you'd be paying up for a guy that I don't believe has been this last year he was an 86 weighted runs created plus guy.
Yeah. And Ellie De La Cruz did not have a great season offensively. And he has a positional sort of conundrum too. I think the Dodgers would probably ultimately want to turn that guy into a center fielder. And I don't know if he has any desire to leave shortstop.
Yeah. There you go. Laura said, congrats on 100,000 subscribers, DodgerHeads. Let's go. Laura, one of the OGs from the original days. So we appreciate it. Fritz with another super chat. Did you guys happen to see Trevor's May's video? Can you buy a World Series? Thoughts about it? If you did, Mets payroll is higher and didn't make the cut. I have not seen this video. Have you seen this, Anthony?
I have not seen this.
Okay.
The answer to the question though is no. I think several organizations have proven that over and over and over again. I think the lazy argument with this when it comes to the Dodgers is it totally leaves out that they are among the best organizations in professional sports in the world, easily in North America. And it's not just about spending money. It's about every facet of this team's organization. And they are top tier in all of it. And the funny thing is like for some of these teams, careful what you wish for, because if you even the playing field in terms of on the field payroll, and teams are free to spend in other places and make the other areas of their team better with money, and just basic, like just being good at stuff, the Dodgers are going to blow by the rest of the league in those departments. And so it might be easier for them to continue to win if there is a salary cap, like in all, like as weird as that sounds. Like, so everyone who makes this argument is just sort of, it's either clickbait or it's just straight up lazy.
Yeah, I'm with you. Have not seen it, so apologies if something else there. Real quick before we dive in, I wanted to get your thoughts on Mookie Betts' podcast. Like last year, hosted from his house, posted a day or two later. I had two major takeaways, but I'll let you go first with what jumped out to you, what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy.
Yeah, quickly. I love that they do these. It's just a cool way to get a little bit of insight on the team. I love that they're doing it while the celebration is going on post parade. I love that it's at Mookie's house. A lot of cool things just about it from like a logistical standpoint for me as a fan. One thing I don't like is, and this just goes for the entire On Base podcast for Mookie, is that he's not a great interviewer or a great podcast host. And sometimes it gets a little awkward. But I will say this in his defense of that, is that he does get these guys to open up a lot. And I think you get nuggets out of this stuff that you wouldn't normally get. And I think a lot of that is because that entire team does feel about Mookie the way they feel about him. So whether or not he's asking great questions or he's good at keeping the conversation moving or not, they open up to Mookie. And I think it's because they genuinely like the guy as a teammate and as a person. So, at the end of the day, if you're getting your guests to say good stuff, then that's what matters. So the stuff that did stand out to me, though, was I thought Kershaw's whole little bit about how he didn't realize that they had won the World Series was fantastic. The one thing they didn't mention is where the road team's bullpen is, and him being a left-hander, as he's warming up, his back is to the field. And so I think that's what made it, like, that was a part that was left out, that if you understand that part of it, you understand how that very easily could have happened, where he missed the double play to end the game and wasn't sure what was going on. So I thought that part was good. And then the other part I really did like too was the brief time that Kirby Yates was there, because I thought what it made me realize was, look, I was with everybody else as a fan, like, this guy was terrible all season. He didn't deserve a roster spot in the postseason. And once, we knew he wasn't going to pitch in October, we were kind of like, thank goodness that Kirby Yates experiment is over and done with, and we don't have to relive it ever again. However, the way they asked him questions and the way he spoke on that podcast made me realize that he was a much bigger part of this team than what he did on the mound for them. And a lot of the relievers said that Kirby was a big part of helping them get ready, a big part in helping them continue to believe. And even Miguel Rojas has said in other interviews, he didn't say this on the Mookie podcast, but he said it in other interviews since the World Series, that Kirby Yates played a big role in doing for the bullpen sort of what we have now known Miguel Rojas to be with the position players in the clubhouse. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm with you. I thought the Kirby Yates stuff was really, really good. Sorry, my microphone got a little wonky, so we're trying to figure it out on the fly here. But yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, all the stories, like I saw our admin saying he was kind of the biggest celebrator in the clubhouse after every round that the Dodgers advanced. There were some reports that when the benches cleared in Game 7, Yates was the loudest yapper on the Dodgers side of things. So It was a dub for Kirby Yates for sure. The way that this whole thing came out,
and he was very in like the post World Series celebration in the club, in the locker room, and when they're pouring champagne and all that. From that to the Mookie podcast, anytime I've heard him speak, he's been very humble and like, look, I know that I was not very good. I know I didn't contribute one inning or one out in the postseason. I just tried to kind of keep my guys up and and that was sort of his attitude, right? And so you hear that and it's like, all right, cool, good for you. Like, let's move on to someone who did pitch. But to hear that sort of reaction from other guys on the Mookie Betts podcast about him was really telling for me and opened my eyes up to like what this guy actually was in the clubhouse and in the bullpen for this team.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you haven't seen it, he's got a tattoo.
Well, there's apparently 3 of them.
There's 3 of them. Yeah.
Rortvet, Kirby Yates, and
Miggy Rowe.
And Miggy Rowe's the 3rd.
Miggy Rowe, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if Kike was part of that crew. And are they all the same?
They're not.
Because Kirby Yates got the Kirby character holding a World Series, which the story was.
You got the Kirby video game guy holding up the World Series trophy.
The Dodgers
these are all on everyone's ass too.
Yeah.
Like all 3 of them are on the butts of these people. Benny Rowe, I don't know what he got because the last time I had heard, like he had not yet gone under the needle to do it.
Okay.
And then Miggy Rowe got apparently.
So the admin saying that Rortvet already had a butt tattoo.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. And then Miggy Rowe was I guess his favorite beer is Sapporo. And so he has a can of Sapporo and it says 2025 World Series champions. And the word champions is in Japanese.
Okay. Love it. Shout out to Miggy Rowe. I love it. And so here are my 2 takeaways from Mookie's podcast. And a bunch of people in the chat has said this. The first one is this. People were far more sober in 2025 compared to 2024, unfortunately.
Totally.
I'll be honest. The whole thing was slightly disappointing to me because last year's was so good.
Last year's was unhinged for sure.
Unhinged. This was like normal content, which I was like, no. I want Walker Buehler like wasted, like talking crap to people. So that was the one downside. But the other story that I loved was right from the beginning, which was Miggy Rowe talking about the impact that Mookie had on him off the field and basically saying Mookie saw him in the locker room. I think it was after game 4, after game 5, and Miggy was like depressed basically. And Mookie kind of picked him up. And that to me was just a cool moment. Cause I mean, you and I know this, like we're both Mookie guys. Like Mookie takes a lot of flack. And so the fact that here's a story of like Mookie in the clubhouse being the guy to pick somebody else up. And then Rojas goes on to hit the home run. I just, that little nugget to your point about access and getting guys to open up, that story's not getting told anywhere else but Mookie's podcast, which is what made it so cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought that was a really interesting thing because one of the storylines throughout the season that we had heard was how much Miggy Rowe was helping Mookie. And it was interesting to see to hear that part of it, kind of in reverse. And again, I think just sort of how beloved some of these guys who didn't play major on the field roles for this team, and how significant their roles ended up being on the team anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Peyton says my favorite part was that, like me, Kershaw calls IKF falafel because he can't remember his name. Love that. Also, Kershaw referred to the asterisk on the Astros title, which was also perfect.
Which triggered a whole bunch of Astros fans online.
It's great. Phil said, pretty sure Mookie was a little tipsy. No shade. Yeah. And he might have been the most drunk person there based on the accounts of what we got to see. Yeah. So, I'm with you. So I thought, again, if you haven't seen it, it's really good. Worth checking out. Let's get to some more super chats here. Greg says, I keep seeing Dodger fans say get Luis Arias. I think it's a terrible idea, but could you make a case of why you would and would not want him? I'll make a quick case, Anthony, for the why and the why not, and you tell me where you land.
Sure.
The why on him is he's a bat to ball guy who doesn't strike out, who hits for a high average. So career 317 batting average. Last year was his worst year at 292, but he still hit 292. He strikes out 3.1% of the time last year. He doesn't walk, which is the weird thing about him. But he basically swings at everything. He always makes contact and he hits for good average. That's the why. The why not is he's going to be 29 years old. He hits for average and that's about it. There's no power. There's no slug whatsoever. He's not like a plus defender either. I think he was like DHing for the Padres this year. So
DH in first base, yeah.
So, I mean, there's your answer, I guess, in short, is like if you can't play second base, which, I mean, maybe I haven't paid close enough attention into his defense to know if that's just because, like, that's where Cronenworth was playing or some other guys, like, or if it's just they don't think he can play there. But the case for him is a 292 average that doesn't strike out. The case against him is pretty much everything else.
Yeah. Even with that average, even the year that he won the batting title, I think that was in 24, he was just above league average as an offensive player. And it's because there is absolutely zero slug in that line.
Yeah.
It's all just batting average. And so, that part of it is fine, but he doesn't have a position on the Dodgers. Again, no slug for him. So you're never going to get, not going to get much extra base hits. You're not going to get any home runs. I didn't even know this was a thing popping up.
He's been like a massively negative defensive player every year of his career, by the way, for what it's worth.
Yeah. It would be a big no for me in terms of like, do I even want to kick the tires on someone like him?
Yeah, there you go. JY says, some have said that the owners may not want to be aggressive this offseason in case there's a lockout in 2027. What are your thoughts on this? I've actually heard the opposite, Anthony, is maybe the Dodgers will go crazy because the lockout's coming anyways, so you might as well get these guys signed before the lockout. I've actually heard the opposite.
Yeah, I think it's all kind of speculation at this point. However, I will say that it could stop other teams from getting as aggressive as they might otherwise on some of these guys, which, as we know, you leave that door open a little bit for Andrew Friedman and his front office. Yeah. And they can get a guy for a deal that they perceive as like under market value, they're going to pounce. Yeah. And so when it comes to like being aggressive here, I think if that happens, you could see the Dodgers go, you know what, we're going to load up again and we're going to win 3 in a row before the lockout happens.
And the Dodgers, they can weather a storm that some of these other teams, right? Like we talk about how much money all these other teams are making. That doesn't necessarily mean these people are cash rich. It doesn't mean they can sit there and take losses for like 6 months in a row and then be fine. The Dodgers are unique in that sense. Not unique. There's lots of teams that could, but the Dodgers are among the teams that could probably weather a storm and say, we'll take on the risk of what if there's no revenue for 3 or 4 months, knowing that eventually baseball is going to come back. And when it does, the cash is going to be flowing. Yeah. Carlos says, do you think Miggy and Kike are returning? Tim G says Miggy and Kike must be back. So there you go. He answers this question for you. This is an easy, both of these guys, I think, are going to be back with the Dodgers next year. You agree?
I agree. I think both of them are back. Rojas has said, I want to play one more year. I mean, he's telling anyone who will listen at this point, I want to come back for one more year. And this is the only team I want to play for. I will play for someone else if they won't give me a job, but I want to be back for the Dodgers. And part of this too, in the interviews, him and Mookie are like have to be so super tight because of the things they both keep saying about each other. But he has said, I want to come back for one more year with Mookie and to help him, however he might need me. I want to be there for him still. And he wants to go out a Dodger. And so, considering what he was and the presence that he was, we knew all season he was a clubhouse leader, but what's come out since then into the light with all of that. And plus the fact that the guy was still kind of productive in his role. I think it makes sense to bring him back. And then Kike, for much of the same reasons. And even though he wasn't as great in October, he was still productive in this October. So yeah.
You interested in a trade for Tarek Skubal?
Sure.
Why not?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what that's going to cost, but like, I'm interested to know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. Lost at 777. Kike saying they didn't play good and still won through more salt on the Blue Jays wounds. And I love it.
That was interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he said what everybody knows, right?
That was the thing. It's like, what did he say that surprised anybody? You know, like that's the thing that sometimes people make a big deal out of these quotes. And it's like, just because he said it, like everybody else is thinking it, everybody else is saying it. But if he says it, he's not allowed to. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Carlos says if Miggy and Kike come back, who comes off the 40-man roster? This is the interesting question. I do think there are some candidates. Some of them are going to be more popular than others, I will add. I'm just looking at the 40-man roster right now. These are guys that are currently on the 40-man that I would say don't buy a house in the city of Los Angeles quite yet. Nick Frasso would be on that list. He's on the 40-man, doesn't really seem to have a role, didn't really have a good season. I think there's a decent chance he's not going to be on it. I think Will Klein is going to be back. He has some option years remaining. I think obviously the performance, all that kind of thing. So stay tuned on that front. Obviously, they just added Robinson Ortiz, which was a surprise to a lot of people, but he's recently added. He would have been a minor league free agent. So I don't think that, like, for him and Ryan Ward, this guarantees them anything. It's basically just saying the Dodgers, we're going to keep you guys in-house at least for a couple more months, but they added him. So that would be another one. Here's the name that nobody's going to want to hear. Ben Rortvedt has no minor league options remaining. And so unless Dalton Rushing is traded, I don't think they're going to carry 3 catchers at the major league level. And I don't think they're sending Dalton Rushing back down to AAA either. So he would be another one. And then Estuary Ruiz and Ryan Ward would be the other guys. So in that group, I think like Estuary Ruiz to me feels like an easy call. I think Nick Frasso to me feels like an easy call. I didn't mention Bobby Miller, but Bobby Miller would be another name that I wouldn't make myself super comfortable necessarily. So any of those names surprise you, or any other names I'm missing here?
No, none of those surprise me. I think they're all candidates to be off, except for Bobby Miller. I think that they leave him in the organization. Maybe they look to see if there's a market for him. But I don't think they're totally off of him yet at this point.
Peyton says, are there any trade chips that are off limits to you? Mine would be River Ryan and Dalton Rushing. I mean, honestly, Dalton Rushing's an interesting one for me because I think I'd be more okay with trading him, not because he struggled so much, but just because unless I get a sense of what the plan is long-term for how they're going to make it work with Will Smith and Dalton Rushing. Like, is Will Smith going to change positions in 12 months? Is he going to be the third baseman when Muncy's contract expires? Are they going to try one of these guys in left field? Like, to me, that I would need to know that. And on the pitching side, there's just a lot of names. Like, Emmett Sheehan would be off limits for me if we're talking pitchers. Kasperius, I think, is an interesting one. I think Robleski is an interesting one. As far as these are the guys that I would have to like think long and hard about, like Kyle Hurt, Landon Knack. I would be sad to see these guys go, but I wouldn't have to think about it. Kasperius, Robleski, I would have to think about. Sheehan would be a no for me. But yeah, I mean, other than that, they got the 4 outfielders like DePaula, Hope, Sirota, and Quintero. Like, DePaula has like superstar potential, so I don't really like trading away guys like that. But there's also 4 of them that are all going to start the season at like AA this year. So I don't know. I'm rambling here, but I guess the moral of the story is I'm not totally opposed to trading Dalton Rushing. I don't want to trade Ryan, Stone, Robleski, or Kasperius, but I think you could kind of talk me into it if the return was good enough.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is off limits right now. I think from my eyes, the guys who are the most off limits or the closest to it, I think would be the DePaula, Hope, Sirota, Quintero group.
Yeah.
Just because that is a place of need in the near future for this organization. I think everyone else is on the table, including
Rushing. I would add real quick on the outfielders is that's also how this roster becomes sustainable. Is you have to refill the major league roster with some guys that aren't making $18 million a year to make this thing work. And so I think that's part of it as well. But go ahead.
For sure. Yeah. But everyone else, including Sheehan, including Rushing, I think they would be willing to field offers for the right package, right? Like if it's a schoolboy kind of trade and Sheehan has to be included or Rushing has to be included, then, I think those are conversations that will be had if those things are presented to the organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Shelly says thoughts on Murakami, who is expected to be posted. I shared earlier. I understand why people are connecting the Dodgers to him, both because he's one of the five best free agents that are available, and he's from a place that the Dodgers have historically done well with free agents. To me, you would have to be able to convince me that Muncy can play second base, which I think he said is like his favorite position to play. So maybe that's an easy one. And that Tommy Edman can play center field. In that case, Murakami kind of solves your outfield problem, and you don't need to go get somebody else. But that feels like a lot of dominoes that you're stacking up next to each other. And if one of those things falls apart, then who knows? I also have not done a deep dive into Murakami. I've heard mixed reviews on if he's actually capable of playing defense down at third base, which would be a problem if the answer to that question is no.
Yeah, he might not be a major league third baseman, so he might not solve that outfield problem by just moving Muncy over. I'm not totally bought in on like they should be ultra aggressive on this guy. I think he can be productive as a big leaguer. I don't think he's a star. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't think so right now. I think they make their play for him, as the Dodgers are to do with most free agents and most guys who are going to post like this. But I don't think he is, from what I've heard and been told, I don't think he is like top of the list priority for them.
Yeah, there you go. JY says, are there pitchers who would do well or poorly with the automated balls and strikes? Realistically, I don't think this is going to be that big of a deal because there's so few challenges in a game.
To a game, yeah.
So I don't think so. I mean, I tend to think the Dodgers, because of how much their stuff moves, that's going to play a role in this and whether or not they're getting favorable calls and balls and strikes. But sorry,
it's going to be like the shift where you'll notice it when it hurts your team. And, when it helps, like, it'll be nice. But like overall, I don't think it has a super significant impact on like the end results for a lot of these pitchers. Like, I don't think you're going to get a guy who's like mediocre and then the ABS system is going to turn him into like a stud. And I don't think you're going to get like a guy who is a number one starter and then ABS is going to be like, oh, actually, this guy's like a number 3. Like, it's not going to have that significant of an impact on like any single pitcher.
Hilo says, hello from Tokyo. Am I a 27-year-old right-handed pitcher, throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball along with a slider and a forkball? He has good command and is a highly recommended talent. I believe you on this. I just don't think the Dodgers are going to be dipping into the starting pitching market in free agency. Barring them trading 5 of the guys that we just talked about, that feels like the one position that they might look up and down their roster and say, we've got to find a place for these guys. And I think if you look up and down, and whether it's Ryan or Stone or Robleski or Kasparius or Landon, I mean, I just think they have plenty of starting pitching to get them over the finish line would be my only, not that again, there's a lot of very good players that just don't make sense for the Dodgers to go out and spend the money to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think the fact that he's 27 means whoever does bring him over is going to be putting them into their big league rotation, and the Dodgers just don't have room for that right now.
Yeah. Don't Care says, I want to see at least 2 Miggy Rowe bobbleheads. I mean, the 9th inning home run, that you can pencil that one in.
Oh, yeah,
at least.
For sure.
Back-to-back top 3 free agents you would want the Dodgers to sign. This is a tough one. We just talked about the 40-man roster. They just don't have a ton of 26-man active roster spots, and they don't have a ton of 40-man roster spots either. One name that we've said that I would be really interested in is Pete Fairbanks. He's projected on trade rumors for like 2 years and $18 million. He's going to be 32 before the season starts. So like, sign me up for another guy off that roster from a few years ago that we beat with Snell and Glasnow. Let's just bring Fairbanks in to complete it. I mean, one other name just on like the reliever side that I could see, Chris Bassett was really impressive to me in the World Series, throwing that like 68-mile-an-hour curveball or whatever. Every time he came out, I was like, I think he's the best reliever they actually have. So I could see that type, kind of like the Ryan Yarbrough move, where it's like, let's just go get the guy that can kind of be a reliever, kind of be a starter, and then he can sit in the bullpen and do everything we need him to do. So, and I mean, I guess if we're doing like, if I have to get to a third, Harrison Bader, somebody like that, I guess would be third for me.
Yeah. Fairbanks is at the top of my list. Once he became a free agent, that was the guy I think I had my sights set on. And I think who probably the organization, was like, oh yeah, now we can go after this guy without any cost to us except for money. And then I think
I guess Kike Hernandez and Miguel Rojas count here if you want to include them in your top 3 free agents. If you need to get to 3 here, Anthony.
Well, then that rounds out my top 3. Then if we're counting those guys, I think then they try to fill need after that. So I think like a Bader type. I think even if like depending on what the market dictates and how that shapes out.
Michael Conforto, I knew you were going to say it.
Maybe
the words right out of my mouth.
Maybe a guy like Trent Grisham potentially. Not
give me Michael Conforto. Good Lord, please. I would take Conforto over Grisham, not because Grisham's bad. I just don't like the guy.
Yeah,
I can't get there. That's like Shane Victorino for me. It still pains me the days that I had to pretend to root for Shane Victorino and Jeff Kent. Trent Grisham's in that category. And I know I've got a mustache. I seem like the type of guy that would like Trent Grisham. Get him the heck out of here. Yastrzemski, like get all these bums out of here. I don't want former Giants. I don't want former Padres. Get him out.
Conforto was a former Giant.
I know. He that's true. It's a good point by you.
So like I could see them going after like kind of gambles like that, similar in the way that they went after Conforto.
Okay. Yeah. Some other, I'm just looking up and down the list. Like Willie Castro's another one of these utility types that I could see the Dodgers possibly being interested in. Basically plays everywhere. He's like the new version of Kike or Chris Taylor or, fill in the blank. So I could see somebody like that being of interest to them as well. Bacon Tree says, honestly, with the glut of prospects and dead weight in the org, you have to try and extract some value, see what packages get you a quality piece. There is a log jam on the 40-man roster. And so moving some of those guys to go get somebody would make some sense. Okay, we're going to do some observations from 2025. But first, Anthony, I have some trivia questions for you about the 2025 Dodgers. Okay. And these are intentionally, some will be easier than others, but I'm trying not to ask you ones that I'm like, you're going to get these right off the bat.
Okay.
There's usually a surprising name. That's the hint that I will give you on these lists. These are major categories, so you might know the answers. Let's start on the pitching side. Can you name the 3 Dodgers pitchers in the regular season who led the team in wins above replacement? Fangraphs WAR.
Yamamoto.
Number 1 by a long shot. More than doubled number 2. 5 WAR for Yamamoto.
Okay. Emmett Sheehan.
3rd on the list. 2.1.
Okay.
That was the surprising name to me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of guys who got enough starts to potentially build that up a bit.
That's a good thing to be thinking about, my friend.
And then is Clayton Kershaw the other
Kershaw. Yamamoto, 5 wins above replacement. Kershaw, 2nd, 2.5. Emmett Sheehan, 2.1. So shout out to you. 3. That's 1 for 1 for our guy, Anthony. Let's go next here. Team who led the team in ERA. I believe this is just led the team in ERA.
Okay.
Reasonable minimum innings. Like
sure.
I believe relievers are in the mix here.
Yeah. Okay. Yamamoto is 1.
He's not number 1. He's number 2.
Okay. Well, and we're saying top 3, right?
Top 3. Yes. So sorry. Yes. Yamamoto is one of the 3. You're right. 2.49. He's 2nd on the list.
Okay. Why am I'm blanking on relievers suddenly? We haven't used so many in so long. Vesia kind of had he got a bump in ERA, so I don't think he's in there. Did Blake Snell have enough innings to?
Blake Snell, yes. I should have clarified. You're right on Vesia, by the way. 3.02 ERA. Blake Snell is number 1. 2.35 ERA for Snell. I think my minimum innings pitched on this was like 40 or something like that. So Snell is 1.
Dryer's ERA started with a 2, I believe.
Who's?
Dreyer.
Dryer's he's not 3rd on this list.
Okay.
And he definitely qualified. His ERA finished 2.95, which was not in the top 3.
Gotcha. Okay, give me the other guy.
Emmett Sheehan.
Ooh, man, dang it.
2.82 ERA for Emmett Sheehan. That's insane.
He was a bad man.
That's insane, Anthony. A 2.82 ERA. Crazy. Okay, let's go position player side. Can you name the 3 position players who led the team in wins above replacement? Ohtani, clearly number 1. 7.5 for our guy Ohtani.
Will Smith.
Will Smith was 2nd at 4.1, and he was sort of tied with this 3rd person.
Okay. Michael Conforto.
Correct. How'd you know?
Was it? Oof. Man, this is a tougher one. I'm between Teo and Freddie right now.
Freddie is 4th. Teo is not in the top 5.
Okay, I was gonna say Freddie was gonna be my guess there.
This is the surprising name.
Pages?
Pages.
Yeah.
Pages and Will Smith, both 4.1 wins above replacement, according to Fangraphs. Mookie was 5th at 3.4. Can you name the 3 Dodgers who finished first in home that led the team in home runs?
Ohtani, Pages, Teo?
Yep. Correct. 55 for Ohtani, 27 for Pages, 25 for Teo. Freddie was 4th with 24. Mookie 20th. 20 was 5th. Okay. I think I have 3 more. We're going to move to the postseason now.
Okay.
This is a fun one. Can you name the 2 Dodgers pitchers who threw at least 5 innings without allowing a run?
Like they did not allow a run in October.
Entire postseason, they threw at least 5 innings and did not allow a run.
Robleski?
Robleski is one of them.
And oh boy.
0 ERA in the postseason.
With 5 innings at least. Klein?
5 innings.
No, Klein only had 3. Was Klein?
No, he did, because he came in one other time. He threw 1 inning in I can't remember if it was game 1, maybe. But I think he and Robleski both came in game 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Klein got to 5 innings, 0 ERA. Klein and Robleski. Good job by you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Klein did throw in that when they were after that big inning, right? Like he got in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. There were 3 more pitchers who had an ERA under 2 in the postseason. Besides those 2. Roki had a .84.
Yamamoto.
Yes, 1.45.
And how many guys did you say? 4?
There's one more guy.
One more guy. Sorry, what was the question again?
Guys who had an ERA under 2. Aside from Klein, Robleski, Sasaki, and Yamamoto, there's one more pitcher who had an ERA under 2.
Glasnow?
Glasnow. 1.69 ERA from Tyler Glasnow. That's the postseason, by the way, that's going to get forgotten in this whole thing. 21 1/3 innings with a 1.69 ERA is nuts. Okay, last one I have here is weighted runs created plus in the postseason for the Dodgers. Can you name the top 3?
Ohtani
by a million miles. 176 for Ohtani. Next on this list is 116 for the record.
Will Smith?
Will Smith was 4th on this list.
Oh man, okay.
Technically tied with number 3. I assume these go to fractions, and that's why he's 4th. But he was 115. Let's do top 5, because actually I have 5 names written down. So Ohtani's 1, Smith is 4.
Okay. Teo
is 2nd at 116.
Yeah. Muncy
is 3rd at 115, tied with Will Smith. Who's 5th on the list?
Freddie?
Nope.
Mookie?
Nope.
Oh.
Freddie was 100. Mookie was below that.
Yeah, okay. Is it Tommy Edman?
Nope.
Oh man. Damn. Yeah, he started out like at a decent clip and he totally fell off.
This is the surprising and obvious one that's staring right at you.
Rojas?
Miguel Rojas. 5th on the list at 113. Freddie was 100. He was the only other. So they only had 6 guys that were basically 100 or higher. And in case you were curious, Andy Pages was negative 45 weighted runs created plus. In 55 plate appearances, we can laugh about this now. We're allowed to. In 55 plate appearances, he hit 078 with a 113 on base. That's not a typo. A 113 on base and an 098 slug. He had no walks and 11 strikeouts. I believe he was hit twice. That's how he got the on base percentage over 100. He had no walks in 55 plate appearances. It's really hard to do.
Yeesh.
And the most important thing, Anthony, is he screwed up some Emmanuel Clase bets because he swung at a pitch that was intentionally trying to be a ball. And if you have not seen that story on social media today, it is so perfect that Andy Pages was the guy right in the middle.
Of course. Of course.
All right. The next thing I want to do is I want to talk Dodgers tattoos, and I'm not talking about butt tattoos here. necessarily. I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite podcasts. It's the Ringer Fantasy Football Podcast. And every year they do a bit that I think is so good that when I was planning for today's show, I was like, we should do this bit. And they do it at the end of every fantasy football season. And they say, what are the things that we need to tattoo onto our bodies so that when the following season begins, we don't forget them? We remind ourselves, hey, remember at the end of the 2025 season, the things that you thought and the things that you believed and the things that you knew to be true. Do not forget these things when 2026 starts or when 2026 is just a couple of months old. And so as a way to just quickly look back on 2025, Anthony, I wanted to go through, like, what are the things we are tattooing on our bodies, either for ourselves or for others, to say, when we wake up in March or in May or in June, do not forget these things. I think I ended up with 5, which I only asked you for 2 or 3. Yeah. So why don't you go first? Because there's a chance that we share some, and I want you to get those. Sure. So what's your first? We could go in whatever order you want, but give me the first tattoo that you're placing on yourself to remind yourself of for 6 months from now.
I am placing this on myself to remind other people.
Okay, I like this.
Not to write guys off in the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of a season.
This is great. This covers 2 of mine. So you go for it and I'll add on.
Because had we listened to the mob at that time and the Doomers before May was over, this team would not have Andy Paez, who, as you mentioned, was second in team in home runs and one of the weighted runs created leaders for the season. We would not have Max Muncy, who hit a big time home run in Game 7.
Let me pause you on Muncy. He was on my list. The first 150 plate appearances of the year, he hit 190 with a 286 slug. After that, he hit 280 with a 594 slug in 238. So one of my tattoos was Max Muncy will probably be fine. So just remind yourself, if Max Muncy has a bad few weeks, just remind he finished with like a 135 weighted runs created plus. Just pencil it in. He's probably going to be fine. So continue.
Yeah. And we also would not have the great Mookie Betts.
It's true. He was the other one on my list. On August 4th, Mookie Betts had an 84 weighted runs created plus and a 657 OPS. That's long into the season. I'll give you that. Yeah. Afterwards, he hit 317 with a 147 weighted runs created plus, and he walked more than he struck out down the stretch. So again, Max Muncy will probably be fine. My other tattoo is going to be don't doubt Mookie Betts, because also, by the way, he was a Gold Glove finalist for shortstop. So he's got that.
And he won the Fielding Bible Award for shortstop, which is arguably the more prestigious defensive award.
Love it. Okay. So number 1 on your list is don't give up on really good players after a bad month. I like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
My second one is let's stop the Tyler Glasnow slander.
Okay. I like this. So when it's April and there's a little bit of mud in his cleats or he leaves with cramping, we're going to look down somewhere on our body and we're going to remember I'm not allowed to slander Tyler Glasnow because he had a 1.8 ERA in 21 innings in the postseason, came in relief a few times, right?
Yes.
Like this is the tattoo?
Yes. And so going back to his first season with the Dodgers, he was an all-star. He had a sub-3 ERA for the team. He missed the playoffs, and so that was where, right, the sort of some of that negativity started to creep in with him. And he was an injury-prone guy. It was always a risk with him when they traded for him and extended him. We knew that. But the fact that he missed that run was his. It was the thing around his neck. What do they call it?
Because of the weight around his neck. Because of like his rep, right? Like this was the fear with him was being lived out in year 1.
Was that exactly? Yes. When he was on the field, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Get into this year. He doesn't start out well. We later find out that there's some sort of injury. And then the debacle in Philadelphia, which sticks out in everyone's mind. The rain, and he couldn't get it together, and then the mud in the cleats, and yada, yada, yada. And we were all pissed as fans coming off of that, right? Like he needed to handle that situation 50 times better than he handled it. But then, whether it was the injury in the 24 October and the incident in Philly combining to cloud everyone's judgment of like who this guy actually was.
Yeah.
because he came back from the IL in the second half of the season and was great.
Great.
Carried that into October. And like every time this guy took the ball, we had to see online and you know, here on sports talk radio in LA about how, oh, well, I mean, they better get the guy ready for the next four, you know, whoever's starting behind him better get ready because that's going to be a big game after Tyler Glasnow is just inevitably blows this.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand where that was coming from because when the guy has been healthy, he's been nails for this team so far.
Yep.
And I'm so glad that he was able to he shut that down, that he is not a big time pitcher. And the fact that he was hurt in game 6, that he was filling the side issue or whatever it was that he had and still came out in game 7, not only pitched in game 6, but got them out of a 2-on, nobody out jam in the 9th inning.
3 pitches, baby. With
help from TK and Miggy Rowe. And then comes back out the next day and pitches again.
7 more outs.
Let's stop it with this guy.
I love it.
Is he would we consider him from a ace perspective? Where does he rank in the suits of aces that the Dodgers have? Sure. You want to call him 4th? I'm not really going to argue with you there.
Yeah.
But to say that this guy is not a stud is just your head's buried in the sand.
Totally. Yeah. Every other team would be thrilled to have him as their number 1 pitcher when he's healthy. And again, I still think there's a little bit of, and this is one of mine, there's a little bit of that still lingering. But
okay, so we have here from our buddy Carlos who's saying, Anthony, he's not worth $27 million a year. He's a legitimate frontline starting
Carlos,
pitcher.
You're right. He was worth $50 million this year.
What do you think frontline starting pitchers go for in this game?
Yeah.
It's a lot more than 27.
Do I need to go back and find that? What was his ERA in the postseason? 1.69 ERA in 21 1/3. That was 3 relief appearances for Tyler Glasnow and 2 starts.
Yeah.
1.69, 21 1/3. There we go. Yeah. I like this. Lost it 777 said mine is don't fire Dave Roberts. That's a good one.
Good one.
Dave Roberts has earned his keep there as well. I'll do a small one, and then I have 2 bigger ones.
Okay.
One of these is just my guy. Will Smith is a dog. I just want to tattoo somewhere on me that Will Smith is a dog. There was a narrative, fair, I think, to some degree, that like this guy couldn't figure it out over the course of a full season. 23-24, he faded down the stretch. 90 weighted runs created plus in the second half of 23, 76 weighted runs created plus in the second half of 2024. The slug disappears. The walk rate plummets. What's the deal with Will Smith? 2025, 116 weighted runs created plus in the second half. By the way, has been above average now 5 out of 7 seasons that he's been in the major league in the second half. Worth pointing out. How about a guy throwing up a 276, 364, 414 in the postseason, despite having a fractured hand, despite setting a World Series record for most innings ever caught by a catcher, and then going big fly in Game 7 extra innings of the World Series. Like, the man's a dog, just forever. There's no more of the like, are we doing, who's our backup catcher? Do we like the backup catcher? Enough. Will Smith can hit for a full season. He was winning the batting title with like 6 weeks to go in the season. He was number 1 in the league in batting average. The man has hopefully silenced doubters. And so, again, if Will Smith goes on a little bit of a dip in August, just look down at the tattoo and Will Smith's a dog. That's right. Yes. I need to remind myself that he's a dog. So that's next on my list. Do you have any more? I have 2 more.
Yeah, I like it. The next one's quick. Shohei Ohtani is really good.
Is he clutch though, Anthony? Is he clutch?
Let's just stop with all of that.
We had people this postseason telling us he needed to be moved down in the lineup, Anthony. Like a month ago, we have comments. You can go find them. People that were slandering that man in the comments on our videos. He had the highest weighted runs created plus on the team by 60. 60. Crazy.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Okay, I have 2 more. I'm going to tattoo this on my right hand so that every time I go to type something, I remember it.
Okay.
The tattoo, it's a long one, so small font. I don't care which Dodger pitchers are on the injured list until after the trade deadline. I'm going to tattoo it. When we start talking about Blake Snell being injured in June and Tyler Glasnow being out for July, I'm going to remind myself that I don't give a crap. because here's why. Ohtani had never thrown more than 3 innings in a game until August 6th. Blake Snell made 2 starts, missed 4 months, and returned on August 2nd. Tyler Glasnow missed 2.5 months before coming back on July 9th. I don't care about any of these things. Tyler Glasnow, rest up, buddy. Middle of July, July 1st, you celebrate 4th of July, don't blow any fingers off. We'll send you down to Oklahoma City. We'll get you a few weeks. Your season begins August 1st. Blake Snell, good with it. Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher, totally fine by me. Like, wake me up. If these guys are hurt, if they're still on the injured list August 15th, we could talk. But before then, we need to remind ourselves that we're not supposed to care about this because we shouldn't. Anthony, this is what the Dodgers should do. People are going to hate this. Only the Dodgers can afford this. I agree. These 3, Snell, Ohtani, and Glasnow, should not be pitching meaningful innings for this team until like August 1st, as far as I'm concerned. Like, put them on ice.
Yeah.
I don't care. So that's my tattoo.
It was the whole reason we kept saying, once they all got back,
yes,
and even like slightly before, we were like, if they can just go in and ride into October with those guys all healthy,
yeah,
it's a different team than the one we're complaining about in early August.
And for the record, you and I were on this show heading into the postseason with all of the panic about the bullpen, which was very bad, and saying the starting pitching is going to make up for it. And we were right on both counts. 1, They went deeper into games, and 2, it was the starters that ended up getting the biggest outs out of the bullpen later on.
Totally. And for the record, I think if I'm wrong here, you can correct me, but I think what we're saying is we're not saying like if they're healthy, like just don't pitch them. Like don't even.
I might be saying that.
Maybe some of those guys.
Ohtani, like why do I don't need Ohtani pitching games in June?
Baby the hell out of these guys until it's really time to ramp up for when it counts the most.
Which is pretty much probably what they did with Ohtani and might have been what they did with Snell.
It is absolutely what they did with Ohtani. Nobody comes back from that elbow surgery and has to get babied like that 2 years after the fact.
Yeah. And again, the reason we can say this is because Yamamoto can throw 200 innings. Emmett Sheehan, Robleski, Kasparius, River Ryan, Gavin Stone. Like, there's all these dudes that can go eat these innings. You know, like, we don't need all of our horses from the get-go. So that's my second to last one. My last one is going to be the biggest one. And it's going to be on my forehead. You want to know why it's going to be on my forehead, Anthony? Because I don't need to see this tattoo.
Okay.
The rest of the world needs to see this tattoo. And it's going to say, this team can flip a switch. That's what the tattoo is going to say. This team can flip a switch. Yamamoto, when he blew his no-hitter in Baltimore, the sky was falling.
That was a dark, dark show that we did that night.
The Dodgers went 28-9 after that. That featured 7 games against the Giants, who at the time were the hottest team in baseball. 7 games against the Phillies. 4 games against the Brewers, 2 games against the Reds, and of course 7 games against the Jays. 28-9. This team can figure it out. Like I love this super chat. I got to go back to it. Lorio says the biggest takeaway from the World Series is we're now powerless to stop the Spiegel optimism.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Perfect.
true.
Lori, I might screenshot this and make it a profile picture.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is what we need to hear. This is what we need to hear. They're going to be fine. Maybe that's what the tattoo, that fits better.
They're going to
be fine. That's the Dodgers. They're going to be fine. 1 game lead in the division in June.
They're going to be fine.
Tattoo. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They're going to figure it out. They're going to flip the switch. They're going to go 28-9 in the most important 37-game stretch of their season. It's going to be fine. We just need we need tattoos. That was the genesis of this, because I was like, people need to remind themselves when this team loses 14-1 to the Colorado Rockies in April.
Yeah.
You just need to look in the mirror and be like, oh, that's right. I got tattooed on myself last year that they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So
I like Pinsanity's here too. He's got a good one that
you don't need to win the trade deadline to win the World Series. Absolutely right. It's a good one. It's a great one. I love it. Okay, let's talk awards real quick. MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, among others, getting announced this week. MVP, briefly. in case you did not know this, Shohei Ohtani is a lock of all locks to win the National League MVP. He hit 282 with a 392 on base and a 622 slug with 55 home runs this season. It's insane. He almost had a 400 on base and it's over 600 slug with 55 homers. Oh, also, by the way, 2.87 ERA in 47 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts per 9, just 1.72 walks per 9. Fielding independent pitching, a stat that like measures pitching. He would have been first in baseball if he qualified for that.
Incredible.
Stat. So,
that is one of the more incredible stats to me that he put up this season, the FIP there.
It's insane. It's insane. Let's talk Cy Young. Skeens is the favorite, 1.97 ERA in 187 innings. Christopher Sanchez, he's second as far as odds go, 14-1. 200 innings, 2.5 ERA, 6.4 wins above replacement. He wins it most years, but Skeens, a sub-2 ERA in almost 200 innings is nuts.
Crazy.
Freddie Peralta, interestingly enough, is third on this list. Just 3.6 wins above replacement, but 2.7 ERA across 176 innings. Then you've got Yamamoto, Jesus Luzardo, and Logan Webb in the mix. To me, I am hoping that Yamamoto can finish third. I think Skeens and Sanchez, I understand why they are 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And this is a regular season award, but Yamamoto trailed only Skeens in expected ERA. He had a higher strikeout per 9 than Paul Skeens, lowest opponent OPS in baseball, 2.49 ERA. Like all of those things, that's what I'm hoping for. I don't care if he finishes third or fifth. Like this will not impact my day one bit. But my hope is that Yamamoto can get a little bit of recognition and get into that top 3.
Here's why I do care a little bit. I'm with you. It's not going to take over more than 5 minutes of my day if he finishes third, fourth, or fifth. I want him to finish third, obviously. But I do think it is important because if he does finish third, I think it says that the voting block is looking at things that do matter. And so they would have him ahead some of those other guys in the field. And also, I think it matters for him if he finishes third. It's not then a huge leap to go to 1 from there. And I think in these next 5 years, there is a world where he wins 2 of these things.
Yeah.
And so, I think the fact that if he were to finish third this season, I think that speaks to the voting block understands how good this guy actually is. They just knew that this year he wasn't as good as the 2 guys ahead of him. Yeah. In the regular season.
I'm with you. That was one of our other ones, by the way, that we talked about was the idea that like the Dodgers have multiple guys in the Cy Young conversation next year. Like Blake Snell's won a couple of these. If Ohtani pitches a full season, he's in the mix. Yamamoto, obviously in the mix. And again, Tyler Glasnow, like if there's a world where he throws 175 innings,
I was going to say that, yeah.
He's going to be good enough. So anyways, Rookie of the Year, real quick, the Dodgers will not be featured in this one, but Jack Dreyer, probably the Dodger that will finish highest on this list if any of them do. He was 4th among National League rookie pitchers in wins above replacement, 1.7. He was 3rd in appearances, had a sub-3 ERA, 2.95. Robleski, 7th among pitchers, Kasperius, 11th, Roki Sasaki, 38th out of 53 when it came to wins above replacement. Haesung Kim, 10th among position players in wins above replacement among National League rookies, 0.8. Cade Horton of the Cubs is the favorite. Drake Baldwin of the Braves is second. So there's your National League Rookie of the Year primer for you. And I don't know if Manager of the Year is going to be given out this week. I imagine it will be. Dave Roberts will not be featured. It was not, as we said, it was not a masterclass of a regular season because it didn't. The objective was not to win the regular season. The objective was to win the World Series, and mission accomplished on that one. So Pat Murphy, your guy, probably Manager of the Year. Do we think?
Yeah, I would think so. Seems like the no-brainer best record in baseball from a team that probably wasn't predicted to really win the division this year. Yeah. So yeah, I could see that as the easy call here.
Let's get to some super chats and then we'll get to questions and hop out of here. Armand says, does the possible cap in 2027 shape offseason plans? We kind of hinted at this earlier. First of all, I'm guessing we're aligned on this. We have not talked. I am supremely skeptical that we will ever see a salary cap in Major League Baseball. So if the question is, does a possible cap in 2027 shape offseason plans? I would be shocked if there is a salary cap. even if there were a salary cap, they would have to figure out ways to navigate this, given that contracts will have been signed well before that cap comes into place. So I imagine this is part of the calculus, Anthony. I just don't see it being a real determining factor.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. When things get slow for us in like January or something like that, maybe it'd be cool, I think, if you and I and maybe somebody else could hop on and do an hour on this topic and the potential lockout and all of that stuff. But I'm with you. I think it's a non-starter for the players union. They're willing to lose games over this point. But as far as how it shapes the offseason plans, yeah, we said it earlier. I think if other organizations become gun shy on signing guys because they could lose revenue the following season, and it opens up the door for shorter term contracts and for the Dodgers to be in on those, I think they get very aggressive and go, you know what, let's just seal this thing up.
Yeah, exactly. David says, can we also take care of the Dave Roberts haters? Yes, as somebody pointed out, we're getting a Dave Roberts tattoo as well. Fritz says, what do you guys think about the player's choice Schwarber snub? Shohei's numbers were better without the pitching staff. This is just, you're like, this is a trigger warning for my guy Anthony over here. So you have thoughts on this one, Anthony?
I have thoughts. This was very, very, very stupid.
Yeah.
And I think it was just hate. I think it was a bunch of hate. It was probably Shohei fatigue from guys in the National League who had to deal with Shohei for now a second year and decided, you know what, we're just going to give it to Kyle Schwarber because F you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no, like we talked about, even if this were strictly an offensive award, Shohei Ohtani should win.
Yeah, he was better than Kyle Schwarber, and
Schwarber
it wasn't
hit
even that close.
One more home run than Ohtani. Had more RBIs, I think, and every other offensive category he was worse. Yeah. So there you go. Noisy Ninja says, how do they make the 2025 ring better than the 2024 one? Also, all love to the Vessias. Heartbroken for them if you have not seen the update. Tragic stuff with Alex Vesia and his wife. So brutal, and thoughts and prayers, obviously, with them as they're navigating that and the circumstances around it with their people in the World Series and winning the World Series. And I cannot imagine the roller coaster of emotion that it has been for them, and mostly dips, obviously. So prayers are with Alex Vesia and his wife as they grieve. Noisy Ninja's question here, Anthony, about the ring. The 2024 one was pretty absurd.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a bunch of replicas of all the ones over the years. I mean, I guess you just make it look different, and it's got a bunch of gold and a bunch of diamonds, and you figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it has moving parts, maybe.
Well, I think the last one opened up.
It opened, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Battery operated somehow. Who knows? Who knows? They're going to think of something good, though.
Jedi Engineer says, what's your favorite Vin Scully quote? And do you think the Dodgers do something special to commemorate Vin retiring in 2016? The quote's easy for me. It's time for Dodger baseball is just iconic. It's why when we made our intro video, it has Vin Scully's voice in it that says it's time for, and then you have my stupid voice saying DodgerHeads. But that's my favorite. And I just, the quote that I think of with Vin Scully that he said regularly was the deuce is wild. You know, when it's like two on and two out, 2 balls and 2 strikes in the second inning. So anytime it's like 2 on and 2 out and 2-2 count, like I immediately go back to Vin. So those are the ones that jump out to me. Anthony, anything particular for you, whether it was like an individual call or something that he said regularly?
Probably the dubbing of Public Enemy #1.
Yeah,
is the one for me with Clayton Kershaw's curveball when he came out that first spring training. And that has stuck ever since. And I think it's a fantastic nickname for a pitch that became iconic.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I hope the Dodgers do something. Like, we should just be celebrating Vin Scully at every step possible.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was 10 years. It'll be 10 years since he actually retired. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know. Like, there should just be a Vin Scully day every season at this point, and you do something special to honor him on that day. But yeah, anytime you can work Vin into any of this stuff, more power to it.
Yeah, Let's get to a few. Says, do you guys feel bad for Ben Kasparius? He was really good for half the season. The Dodgers really messed him up. I don't want to be negative since we won. He was baffling to me. I kept putting him on playoff rosters because I'm like, they don't have any righties, and he's a righty. I think he's going to be fine. I don't have a great explanation for the second half of his season and how the Dodgers handled him. I trust that they know more than I do, but I'm not worried about Ben Kasparius. It does make me wonder, Anthony, if he's a more quote unquote tradable guy. Like if there's something more here than like, oh, we just didn't like him in that spot. I'm not saying bad. I'm not saying personality.
Sure.
I'm not saying any of that, but I just wonder if like they're telling us a little bit like we like Robleski better than we like him because they didn't need extra lefties and they kept going to Robo and he performed. So it just makes me wonder where he is on the pecking order, I guess.
Yeah, I think just the moving him back and forth in roles didn't do him any favors, and he didn't adjust to it well. And so it sort of left him in a lurch going into the postseason, and they weren't exactly sure what to do with them. And his effectiveness was kind of wavering a little bit. And so I think that's just what happened with him. Assuming they keep him on the roster, I think next year they decide to go one way or another with him. I don't think they try that experiment again. Probably unfortunately for him, if they do keep him, I would say he has more value at this point on a big league roster as a reliever.
Yeah. Miguel says, if a salary cap happens, which I don't think it will, how would this benefit any of the players? Why would they agree to it? It seems as it will only please the crybaby fans. The only case you could make is the owners say, we will not play Major League Baseball until you agree to this. That's the only scenario. Like the players are not going to agree to this because it is good. They would agree to it because they have no choice but to agree to it in order to keep playing.
Yeah, between ESPN and Sporting News and Forbes, I've written tens of thousands of words on this topic. I will say this. The only way it could potentially benefit the player side is if the union said the only way we can even start to discuss this is if you, the owners, are willing to completely shatter the current player control system, and start it again. Because as of right now, as many people know, but some people don't because it's kind of confusing. A player is under control, like let's say Roki Sasaki is under control for 6 seasons. And there is
after they are added to the 40-man roster.
Correct. And I was just so there's when that clock for the 6th season starts can be manipulated for the benefit of the team so that the player is with the team for an extra season on a cheaper salary, which then could essentially give them 7 years of control before the player can earn like massive contracts.
Yeah.
And so breaking up that player control structure. So if you're going to say, okay, well, the other leagues with salary caps don't have this kind of structure. So a player like Andy Pages, maybe you only get him for 3 years and then he can become a free agent if you would like. Something like that, which a big reason why owners have allowed the system to go on the way it has is because they can get those star players into their primes and sometimes through most of their primes essentially on the cheap.
Look at Walker Buehler is a perfect example.
Right. And then by the time that guy does hit free agency, he might be 28, 29 or 30 years old. And then no one, especially now, like we're in the new time of like, there's no more Albert Pujols or Miguel Cabrera type of contracts. Like we're going to give you a 12-year deal for what you did for the previous 10 years. Like we're not doing that anymore. We're paying guys for we think they're going to produce for the next 6, and we'll tack on 2 extra years to that to make them happy and sell the deal. And so when you are controlled for that long, you don't hit free agency until you're 29 or 30. No one's giving you that 10-year deal like that. The only way players are getting those now are through extensions when they're 25 or 26, maybe.
Yeah.
So that would have to be broken up.
And the only thing I would add is no current player would really have much incentive other than the goodness of their heart to actually care about what we just described.
Correct. It would take a real, like all of the superstars would have to go, yeah, you know what? We'll take a massive haircut on our earnings potential to help these rookies that are coming up,
which will never happen.
which is another massive, massive ask.
Yeah. Dave says, can you guys do a show with a list of guys that are safe or are trade candidates? Maybe if Justin Lorber is available to break down. I just put this on my list. Bruce will be on with me Tuesday. So let's pencil this in as a segment. I'll go with Bruce through all of the prospects, and he can tell me what he thinks because he's an expert. And maybe we'll see if Justin Lorber wants to hop in. That'd be a good one. Ederica, where is Alex Freeland for the future plans? I somehow disagree with the load management stuff. Aren't the players paid to play? And who's to say that strategy will work every single year? Here's what I'll say about load management. Yes, the players are paid to play. And no, there is no guarantee it will work. But it worked this year, and they're paid to play to win the World Series. And so this year, all those things worked. And if you're dealing with pitchers that maybe you think we're only going to get 120 total innings out of them, I think picking where those 120, like if Shohei Ohtani doesn't start pitching until August 1st, the odds of him getting hurt are severely decreased, right? Like he's taking fewer punches in a boxing match, and so he's less likely to be knocked out. Is what I would say.
Sure.
Alex Freeland, great question. I think Freeland will be a very similar role this upcoming season. I'll be very curious to see. They've got Freeland. They have Ha-Seong Kim is another name we didn't mention. A couple middle infield types who we'll see. We'll see if those guys get another extended run and whether or not they can prove that they can hit at the major league level. Because I think that's the big question that both of those guys have to answer. Dong says, since Jeff is an Eno Saris guy like myself, he's from The Athletic, if you're unfamiliar, his thoughts on Amai. Saris compares the Joe Ryan fastball and a Trey Savage splitter. It's a pretty good combo. I think Amai's splitter is different since Savage has his arm angle and fastball to use the splitter. Again, I'm sure he's awesome. My only thing is, like, there has to be a number where you have to stop signing starting pitchers, I think, at some point. Right? Like, so... But again, Kershaw's leaving, so maybe they have room for one more.
It's going to be Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, or River Ryan or Gavin Stone.
Exactly, yeah.
Jedi Engineer. Anthony says he didn't watch the Trevor May video and then near quotes said video on what's broken about free agency. LOL. Real talk. It's a great video with some ideas on free agency fixes. So there you go.
I'll have to go check that out. Yeah. And look, I'm not surprising that I said something similar because this is stuff that people have been talking about for several years now. And any of us who have sort of taken a stance on one side of the fence on it, these are our arguments. They've been in our pocket for a long time. And a lot of this stuff is non-starter without any of these things at least being on the table. Yeah,
absolutely. A few more. Nomo Splitter says, have you seen the Nike end credit commercial for 2024 and 2025 cut together into one? It is awesome. I have not seen the cut together. I've seen it on social media and I haven't had time to watch it, but I thought their 2025 one was awesome. So I will look into
it. If you watch them together, you see that it's a continuation of what they did in 24 for their commercial, with the Paul Newman song ending. And then they sort of do a kind of you spin the record backward on the needle and then the Kendrick Lamar version starts.
Okay.
It's really cool. It is good.
I'm gonna look this up. Oh, here we go. I just found it. Be watching it as soon as this is done. Hector says, who are the locks in the bullpen for next season? It's a good question. Let's see what we got here. I mean, another name, I got in trouble for saying this name last year, but Anthony Bonda has no options. So if he is on the roster, he will be in the major league bullpen. I would say Jack Dreyer is a lock. Depending on what they do with Ben Kasperius, he can be sent up or down, could be a starter or a reliever. Gratterall, if healthy, I think is a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Enriquez, I don't think is a lock, but I think you'll see a lot of him. Kyle Hurt, if he's a reliever, I think you'll see a lot of him. Will Klein, if he's on the roster, has options. Evan Phillips, once healthy, will be a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Tanner Scott is a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Stewart, when healthy, I think is a lock.
Yes.
Blake Trinan, if he's on the roster, is a lock. There's nowhere else for him to go.
Yeah.
Vesia is a lock. And then depending on what they do with Robleski. So if we're talking strict true locks, and I'll use this, like, I'm going to put Bonda on this list. But the reason I brought his name up last year is just a name to keep an eye on, is not because I dislike Bonda. The Dodgers just typically don't like guys who don't give them options.
Yeah.
Unless you're elite. And Bonda's really good, but he's not elite. So they did this with Ryan Brazier, and he ended up being gone. So it could be that type of thing. But if he's on the roster, Bonda has to be up there. I think Dreyer doesn't have to be, but will be based on the season he had. Gratterall is a lock to me. That's 3. Evan Phillips, when healthy, he's going to miss a large chunk of the season. Brock Stewart, when healthy. Tanner Scott would be 6. Blake Trinan would be 7. Vesey would be 8. I mean, we're already at 8.
Yeah, I agree with all of those as locks.
So 2 of those guys are hurt. So 6, and then again, that's why I think I'll be curious to see like a guy like Bonda if he's still around. So
did you have Bonda on that 6 as a lock?
He's one of those.
Right? Yeah. So for me, he's not a lock. Partly for that reason, but also just partly because I don't know that he's a lock like that. Like for all of the awfulness, Tanner Scott's a lock. For reasons. And
Trinan, you could say the same thing, right? Like, are we positive that Blake Trinan's going to be in the organization next year?
Yeah, totally.
He's got 1 year remaining. I think Trinan, they're gonna give him the offseason to rest up, and they're gonna give him a couple of months, and then we'll see what happens from there.
He's a guy, like you said, that could get load managed, and hey, we'll let you know when we need you.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's time.
Last question here from Peyton. Do you think the Dodgers organization waits until Kershaw is officially in Cooperstown before putting up a statue? They showed a spot where the retired number is going to be going in the rafters. But that is Dodgers. The franchise has only retired numbers with 2 exceptions of guys that are in the Hall of Fame. So given that Clayton Kershaw will be in the Hall of Fame in 5 years, my sense is that they will be waiting until Kershaw's in Cooperstown before they do anything. That's my guess, Anthony.
I think there's I agree with you like 98%. I think there's a small crack there to say like we made a massive mistake with how we handled the Fernando Valenzuela situation, and we're not going to wait. If we know a guy is going to be, if he's good enough in our organization to be retired, we're not necessarily going to wait for him to be elected into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. While he's still alive, basically.
While he's still alive, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and with Kershaw, it's like, it's a luck. Like, it's not like you're going to look back on this in 10 years and be like, damn, we thought he was going to get into the Hall of Fame.
Right. Right. He might be unanimous.
Yeah. 2031 is when he is eligible. So it's a 5-year waiting period after you finish. So 2031 is when Kershaw will be eligible. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Esteban, by the way, said there's no way Tanner Scott is worse than this year, right? Correct.
I've said that same thing. I think he bounces back at least to a point where he's solid for them.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, folks, that is going to do it for us tonight on Dodger Heads. I kind of hinted at this, but if you missed the announcement on social media, we are going to be doing our normal 3 nights a week shows all through the offseason. So Sunday nights, Tuesday nights, and Thursday nights. The only change is that Anthony and Bruce are going to flop nights in the middle of the week. So Bruce, Thursday nights are hard for him. Our guy Anthony was kind enough to switch. So it'll be me and Bruce on Tuesday nights, me and Anthony on Thursdays and Sundays. And if for some sick reason you would like more of Anthony Witrado and Jeff Spiegel, tomorrow night we will be hosting the Lakers Nation postgame show. So I'm sure you're already subscribed to the Lakers Nation YouTube channel, but we will be on there tomorrow night. And then I will be back on Tuesday night on this channel with Bruce. But you can go ahead and check all that stuff out as well. I think that's what I've got. I don't think there's anything else to promote. Dodger Blue, the app. If you haven't done that, please download. It's an awesome deal. It's got all of our stuff in one place. So you can go ahead and check that out. If you're a podcast person, Apple, Spotify, Google, check that out. I see people asking no unplugged in the offseason. We're working out details on that. So stay tuned. That might be a regular season only show. We've got to figure out a few things. And for a lot of folks, it's like, hey, take a deep breath. We just did a marathon. I think at least I was up to 12 shows in 13 nights or something like that, because the World Series, all the off days landed on our normal Sunday and Thursday shows. And then it was the day after, and then it was the parade. And then it was so. I
haven't counted, but with Unplugged, the days that I would pop on there, it's possible I hit it's possible my number on for October/November starts with the 2.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of shows. So stay tuned. Obviously winter meetings coming up, I believe like a week from now, they're in the winter meetings or something. I mean,
GM meetings are first.
GM meetings. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm thinking of. So stay tuned. Lots of content right here on Dodger Heads. Tons of time to get to the Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger type questions. We're going to be doing that. Untradeable prospects on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that as well. That is Anthony Witrado. I am Jeff Spiegel, folks. Enjoy the rest of your night. As always, go Dodgers. And yes, still champs.